Okay, what is up there, YouTube? This is J-Man Time, and today I have another largely forgotten weapon for you all today. And this weapon here is one of Germany's early assault rifle / automatic rifle projects of the interwar era. And this weapon here could have been the rifle that the Germans needed the most in the Second World War. This weapon system could have been the Sturmgewehr of the late 1930s, and that weapon system is the Vollmer M35, also known as the Vollmer Maschinenkarabiner MKB 35, which was a series of experimental automatic rifle / assault rifles / assault carbines that was a joint project between Heinrich Vollmer and another German inventor by the name of Gustav Genscher. Now, this weapon project technically started in the late 1920s with a semi-automatic rifle designed by Vollmer known as the SG-29. The SG-29 was a prototype semi-automatic rifle chambered for the 7.92 by 57mm Mauser cartridge. This weapon system was rejected, and later on in the early 1930s, Vollmer began work on a Maschinenkarabiner, or a fully automatic carbine. The first prototype was unveiled in 1934-1935, and this weapons project was co-developed with a man named Gustav Genscher. Gustav Genscher developed the experimental cartridge that this weapon used, the 7.75-40.5mm GECO or GECO cartridge. He also developed a second version known as the 7.775-39.5mm GECO, and these were two experimental intermediate cartridges that were developed for the first two prototypes of the Vollmer Maschinenkarabiner MKB 35. Now, in total, there would be three separate prototypes altogether, and about 25 prototypes were completed of all three. And these prototypes had a rate of fire of between 300 and 400 rounds per minute for the first variant, and 400 to 1,000 rounds per minute for the second two variants. These prototypes were developed and tested between 1934 and 1938. Each rifle cost about 4,000 Reichsmark, which was a lot of money back in those days. Way more expensive than the standard bolt-action Mauser rifle already being used by the German army at this point. The weapon was tested multiple times and actually passed its test during the last testing phase, but ultimately the Germans did not adopt the Vollmer Maschinenkarabiner MKB 35 for multiple reasons. One, the Germans wanted accuracy over firepower. They wanted a rifle that was as accurate as the Mauser Model 1898 and later Karabiner 98K series of bolt-action rifles. So they were not looking for a machine rifle at this point. A second reason is they did not want to adopt a new cartridge. Any new rifle, whether it be a bolt-action, semi-automatic, or a select-fire rifle, would have to be chambered for the standard 7.92 and 57mm Mauser cartridge. And then finally, the third reason was that the rifle was somewhat expensive. It cost 4,000 Reichsmark just to produce the 25 prototypes that were made between 1934 and 1938. As a result of these three reasons, the Germans did not adopt the Vollmer Maschinenkarabiner MKB 35, and the weapon project was abandoned by the eve of World War II. Later on, strangely enough, the Germans would adopt another assault rifle. First, an experimental or limited production rifle known as the MKB 42, which was an early German assault rifle from the early part of World War II, and later the Sturmgewehr 44, which was based on the MKB 42. Both of these were chambered for the 7.92 by 33mm Kurz cartridge and would become the standard assault rifle of both the Wehrmacht and the Waffen-SS during the last 2.5 years of World War II. So imagine what could have happened if the Germans had adopted the Vollmer Maschinenkarabiner. It was basically a select fire or fully automatic assault carbine that was designed as a potential replacement for the bolt-action Mauser 1898, 1898, and Karabiner 98K series of rifles that were already being used by the German Wehrmacht and Waffen-SS, and in the 1930s and later on in World War II. Imagine an alternate scenario where the Vollmer machine carabiner became the standard issued rifle for Wehrmacht and Waffen-SS troops in the Second World War. They would have a select fire rifle that could fire between 400 and 1,000 rounds per minute. It weighed virtually the same as a Carabiner 98K, maybe a little bit heavier, and was fed by a 20-round detachable box magazine. So the Germans would have had way more firepower if they had a weapon like this in the early part or throughout the entirety of World War II. But the Germans did not want to adopt a new cartridge or spend 4,000 Reichsmarks per 25 guns in order to mass produce these weapons. So ultimately this project was cancelled just before World War II. So what do you all think of this weapon, the Vollmer machine carabiner MKB 35 from 1934-1938? Please tell me in the comment section below, and until next time, this was J-Man Time signing off.